So it'll be a little YouTube exclusive. Real Housewives. There was no new episode this week. We've been watching. We haven't talked about it since the infamous Danielle Jennifer Aydin fight, followed by lots of non-profit legalities.
Yes.
So I'm just gonna throw it to you. What's your thoughts right now? What's going on leading into the new episodes?
Many thoughts. Probably all old now. It's old. But luckily there hasn't been.
New to you.
Yeah, but luckily there hasn't been an episode, so some of this is still fresh, right?
Right.
We saw the fight, and then we saw the aftermath of the fight in the last episode. So, first things first. One thing I want to say, because people are like, "Oh, Jen A, when you run your mouth, this is what you get." My girl Jen got clocked in the face, stood there, licked off the drink from her face. Says tastes good. Like, she took that shit well.
She no-sold it.
She did. She was like, and then even at the end, like the people were like remarked that, like, "Oh wow, you're really unfazed." Like, yeah, I'm good. She's just angry. Like, people over here saying like, "Oh, she really got hurt." It's like, bitch, took that shit.
Well, first of all, did we ever find out what was it, a glass or a plastic cup? What I didn't hear it like shatter.
So
or make it bleed.
someone said it was a plastic cup, but it was still like a flimsy one. It wasn't one like it was one of those clear ones. So even if you smash it against someone's head, it's gonna break.
And it could cut you, but not in the same way like glass. Okay, that's the one thing. Because I mean, yeah, if she hit her with a glass like cup, that would have been a whole nother issue.
Yeah. And here's the thing: like, I know people are gonna say, you shouldn't put your hands on someone, blah blah. It's a because like this girl from New York, she's from Queens originally, Jen. Okay, and this bitch Danielle, she's from Staten Island, all right. And there's a rule in New York: you don't get in my space. You don't get in my space. And if I told you once, and she did say it, Jen said, you got to calm down. You got she was trying to get her away, and she wasn't approaching her. You approach me, I take that as a threat. I'm pushing you away. Okay, and a push is not the same as you're clocked on the side of the head, because a blow to the head could be a lot more dangerous than a quick shove on your shoulders. Okay,
yeah,
so let's not compare apples and apples here. Like, this is two different things.
I don't think you're getting arrested for assault for a shove.
Yes, but especially with something in your hand, and someone even noted that she had to pick up that glass. It wasn't in her hand.
No,
it was on the table, and she picked it up to hit her with it. So she had the wherewithal to pick up a weapon to add to the blow to the head.
And why not just splash it in her face? Like,
yeah,
you're going for disrespect. Like, once you hit somebody with the cup involved, regardless of what material the cup's made of. Now you're starting to lean toward assault.
And the star of the show, you listen, all love to the Aydins, because they really acted like unfazed. Because talk about no selling. Bill Aydin sat there at the table while Danielle was mad disrespectful. Because at the end of the day, there's one thing I hate: stop bringing the men into this fucking bullshit. Okay, your man's over here yelling at Jen Aydin like a bitch, Nate, a bitch, but. You got Danielle coming in saying, your wife's a bitch. When you go to sleep at night, you go to sleep with the devil. And you know what he did? He sat there and paid you no never mind. You know why? Because you don't bother him. He goes home and he's fine. That is the definition of unfucking bothered. Okay, so kudos to Bill Aydin for not engaging with a woman like that. Okay, because all these other men, all these little bitches run around, engage and yell and shout at all these women. And he sits there, he's like, this isn't my thing. This is not my thing. I'm a man. I'm a gentleman. She's clearly got an issue. I'll go handle my wife. That's it. And that's what a man has to do in these situations, okay?
They've been on the show so long. He's a wildly successful plastic surgeon. Like, this is really his wife's job. Did Jen Aydin do anything else? Does she have, like, an actual job? Like
she's a housewife.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. She doesn't have, like, a clothing boutique like Danielle.
No, she knows, like, she's
so I think he's been around this long enough where he's like, all right, whatever. I mean, it doesn't faze him. He doesn't want to be part of it. He has to be part of it because he's the husband. But yeah, he no-sold that. Like, okay, whatever.
Like, beautifully no-sold it. Like, beautifully, it was like
the other guys. I feel like some of the other guys, especially Fuda, are like they're trying to turn this show into something for them. They know their wife is the star and the cast member, but he's trying to become like, I'm just like, oh, start a podcast because I'm evil John Fuda.
And like, listen, and like, I'm not like, I know I'm a bit biased, but like, even like Louis does it a little bit too much. I think Louis trying to be too
100%.
much. Yeah, like, I don't like it when he engages with the women as much
100%.
either. Like, but I am not a hypocrite. I will call it on both sides. Like,
you don't marry Teresa Giudice and think I'll just be on the sidelines.
No.
I didn't do this to be on television. Come on.
So, but. Yes, so that situation. And then you and I have discussed this in length about just the whole situation with the charity.
Okay, so let me go first because I've worked with a nonprofit. I worked for a nonprofit for a while doing production work and social media work. The whole thing was that She said I stole money. No, she said you paid yourself back, which doesn't make any sense to me because if you throw a charitable event, anything you spend is for the charitable event. You can write that off in your taxes, I believe. Don't quote me on that. I'm not an accountant. I'm pretty sure that's how that works. And then you pay the vendors, or unless they're donating their time too, then it's all a big tax write-off, and it's just to make you look good, especially if you're a celebrity like she is. So yeah, she's like, why did you pay? She said, when we throw charity events, we put the money in, and that's it. Why are you paying yourself back? But it's not stealing. You can pay yourself back. It just doesn't make sense.
It doesn't look good. Like, for example, and there's a difference between...
You're like, I got to get my money back. Like, huh?
And you and I discussed there's a difference between a nonprofit and, like, an organization or a person doing it, right? Because a nonprofit will have operating costs, and they have to pay themselves.
But Danielle is not a nonprofit.
No, she is not. So I get what Jen Aydin is saying. When she says, like, listen, I have money. So out of my good fortune, I am throwing this, having people buy tickets, and those tickets...
Trying to raise money.
Right? Because I can only give so much money, but I can get more money if I throw an event. Right?
So her donation is the event.
Right.
And then...
So, because, like, I've worked at places, at companies, like, specifically a law firm, where, like, they threw events for an organization. And then they even had, like, raffles and stuff. They didn't pay people from the stuff from the raffles or any of the other things to raise money. They paid out of pocket, and all the money from all the other stuff that was donated goes to
whatever
the charity that we were working with, or like the nonprofit I think we were working with. So that's technically how it works. So I get what Jen Aydin is saying. It's not that it's wrong. It's just tacky. It's a tacky thing to do.
To pay yourself back, be like, well, I spent my own money. Like,
and clearly you don't have enough clout to even like pull the strings to get shit for free.
Yeah.
Like, you should know enough to get shit for free.
Or it's a donation. Everything should be a donation. Any business, anything that puts any sort of product, time, whatever it is into it, that's a donation.
Yeah, and so that's why the whole step and repeat thing, like, which I think was petty. I think the only issue I have with Jen Aydin is this assumption that Danielle should have known. Right?
Like, not that smart.
No. Well, first of all, no, she's not that smart. And two, like, just open your fucking mouth and ask. Like, that's my only issue. Just communicate. Like, don't sit there and say she's tacky for not knowing to do that. Like, maybe it really didn't cross her mind, right? But
because, like I said, Jennifer Aydin doesn't have a brand, a business, or anything. She's like, throw my husband's plastic surgery.
Because at the end of the day, showing up for free when these people get paid appearance fees and they get paid to promote shit on social media, yes, that is a value.
Right.
And they should, like, it wouldn't have been a bad thing to put Aydin plastic surgery on there. Like, it wouldn't have been the worst thing in the world when you're like, but that's for people who gave money. Well, what about, like, if the limo company had given you, like, car services for free, wouldn't you throw them on the step and repeat? It's not money, but it's their service. It's their time. You throw them on the step and repeat. Like, so Danielle just doesn't sound like she understands how shit works. And she is definitely, like, new to this world. And then the other thing that people mentioned was like, you couldn't pay out of pocket for this event, but you had a relaunch party. You've already had a launch party
for your brand, for your boutique.
It's existed for a while now, but you had to have a relaunch party, and that you had money for.
We even looking into clothing, we said to each other, like, I don't think she knows what bougie means.
No, this has been clear from the beginning that I think she thinks bougie means loud, obnoxious, and just over the top. That is not bougie.
That's not what bougie means.
That's not bougie.
You can Google it and be like, oh yeah, that's bougie. Like, like the clothing.
And listen, I will never hate on the children of the Real Housewives, but I don't understand this obsession with putting girls in tutus for just like, here's your dress you're wearing to school, and it's a tutu. It's ugly.
I have no opinion.
It's obnoxious.
But it's funny because, like, look, these shows, heard or read somebody talking about it, like, they need content. Like, you look at the show, like, they need pieces of content to make the show. They need events. They need these different things, not just people on the phone, not just people hanging around the house. So I'm sure they went to Danielle and be like, anything you want to do for content for this? He was like, we could throw another... a relaunch for the bougie kids thing, whatever, because then it gets her brand back on the show, back on TV. It's almost like free marketing.
Yeah, and her parties seem kind of weird. Like, even like the first party she threw, the event she had for her husband, like celebrating 6 years of like surviving his surgery. Like, that's a weird number to celebrate. Number one, I'm not saying you don't have to celebrate it.
Yeah,
but it was odd because it didn't seem genuine in the moment. Like, why just specifically for 6 years, and why just specifically now?
Because you can throw a party.
Because you can
at
throw
a
the party
place.
for the show, and it seems disingenuous.
Right, but see, that's the thing. I don't blame her for that. I blame the shows. Like, well, we need you to do something that seems realistic. Like, we need to have these events where.
But that's
they
where
come
like the
together.
overproduction makes it seem unrealistic. You're not doing this.
Yeah, no.
For no other reason, you're not doing this,
Right.
right? Like the Tipsy and Tulum party that Teresa threw. It was just because, right? But like Melissa's housewarming party served a purpose. She saved the housewarming party for when she had the show, right?
Yeah, when the cameras are rolling.
I don't know.
Yeah. But
Oh, the stupid baseball game. That one is dumb. I'm tired of the baseball game. I don't want to see that one again.
I think we were still. Yeah, I think last week there was nothing. The week before it was just kind of like the aftermath of the fight. It's all just coming down to people picking sides. Somehow Jen Fessler double agenting, like being on both sides of things. People get mad that she's playing both sides. It's not really playing, but she's friends with everybody. And then, it's still all going to boil down to this lack of reunion where it just feels like.
Well, they're doing something different. That's the other thing that was stupid that came out recently is that they said they're going to have both sides separately watch the finale and like talk about
comment on it, yeah.
But that's dumb as fuck.
Kind of like they had Vanderpump watch the final scene.
Yeah, but that was still part of a reunion.
Right, but it's just similar. Like, hey, here's like them commenting after the fact. Like, yeah, clearly at the end of the season, there's going to be two camps, clearly divided two camps.
Yeah, and I think that part of what we love about the reunion is the accountability, the like pushing back, addressing things you didn't know or you didn't see.
Right.
Right. You're not getting that here, and like.
Do you think they'll change their mind? Do you think as it gets closer?
No, because they did say that part of the purpose of this is to get to some sort of resolution when you have the reunion, and there is no resolution. They've been clear.
The way Andy Cohen put it, he's like the final episode. He's like the producers and him sat down and watched it. And like, this is the ending. Like this ends the season.
Which
without
kind
the
of
need
sounds
for
like it ends the series, right? It's the same thing with Vanderpump. Like this feels like it's like the end of it. Like there's no going back. But I can't see them getting rid of Teresa Giudice. At the end of the day, I can see them revamping the show, but I don't see them doing what they did with New York and getting rid of the whole cast. I can't.
Yeah. Here's the thing. Do you think Teresa could carry a show on her own?
I don't think she wants to. She was on Kelly and Mark recently. She's like, I'll be on the Housewives until they don't want me on the Housewives.
And then she's done.
And
She'll just do the sporadic appearances and other kind of like reality shows.
And the thing is, like, I could see her carrying her own show, but I feel like it can't just be her and her family. Because while that might be fun, like, she needs drama.
Right.
And while you can have drama within like your marriage and your family, I don't think that that's enough. I think she needs foils. I think she needs to be also a heel for some people. Well, I think part of her appeal is, like you said, she can be the heel.
I think that if they had kind of a purpose for the show, like if her and Louis were starting a business together, or something to kind of focus the show around her, and maybe just like. Maybe Jen Aydin's still on that show because they're still friends, and maybe they bring in some new people, but she becomes the focus so that if there's any problems, we just get rid of the people, and Teresa's the focus.
I'll say this is my only thing. Like, I don't want them to completely revamp the show. I will say the only person, and this is no hate to her, I don't think she's a horrible housewife. I just don't think she brings anything, and I think if you remove her as a piece, things will move forward. I think you need to get rid of Melissa. I think you can have a good show without Melissa Gorga. I think you can also get rid of Dolores. I'm also tired of her storyline of like not finding good of a man who wants to marry her. Like, yeah, let's open an electric company together.
How is number one with a bullet not Marge?
As much as I don't like how she plays dirty, that shit is entertaining for TV.
Right. I mean, the whole thing is the drama and who sparks it. Who's the catalyst? She is the catalyst.
And I think
right
if
now.
you remove Melissa and maybe remove Dolores, and you only have her side being her and Rachel Fuda, you kind of force their hand to like reflect, right? Like, for what it's worth, Teresa Giudice did reflect on like what she did to Jackie and acknowledge that she was a bitch to Jackie with the whole Evan cheating rumor thing. She did that, and that's a sort of redemption we like to see, right? Mm-hmm. I would love to see Marge like sit there, and I would love to see Rachel Fuda do the same thing, sit there and say, you know what? I'm part of the problem too. Let's squash it.
Yeah.
Right? I don't see that happening with Melissa because Melissa and Teresa are done. But I don't see Melissa having the leverage that Teresa has.
To do what?
To just but be like, oh, it's me or
oh no.
Like if Teresa threatens to walk, they're working with Teresa. But I would love to see that because they're, you know, once upon a time, Marge and Teresa were friends, and when they were on the same side, that shit was ridiculous. Like them two together could bring down an army.
That was before my time.
Like if they unified their forces of good and evil, like shit would go crazy.
Take the food down once.
Listen, if you can find a place for her and Jackie to be friends, I don't think that there's no path forward for her and Marge, regardless of the shit they've done. As nasty as it's been, as toxic as it's been, I think if you move Melissa from the equation, Dolores from the equation, you kind of eliminate some allies. You force them to have to sit down and say, we really need to move forward. And that would be a beautiful thing. I mean, they would still probably fight and talk shit, but in a more like lighthearted way.
All right. I hope that's what the people wanted.
That's what Toni wants.
Some Toni. No, I mean, Toni's opinions about Real Housewives. All right, so that's going to go up on YouTube exclusively. So make sure you subscribe. We're going to keep that out of the audio version. Just a nice little Real Housewives opinion editorial from Toni. All right, so thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe. And
love.
Nothing but love.
That's Teresa thing. I love. You got to do it too. Aww.
Nothing but love.
No, it's love.
Oh, love. I thought you said nothing but love.
No, love.
This is the longest outro we've
Well, you got to get it right.
Love.